Welcome back, Wolfpack. Dyer Clyde here for our weekly news recap, where our motto is, it's all in Clyde's head. Alongside me is my co-host, Weeb Clyde. How you doing?
I'm not Clyde, but hi.
And also, as well, is our waifu supremo, Gabby Clyde. How you doing?
I'm doing all right. Well, Clyde's doing all right.
Yes. Also joining us deep underground in our heavily fortified bunker is our head of secret police, Clyde.
I gotta stay down here, or all my personalities will get out. It's crazy. And Vince is not me.
If you guys don't know the old joke, it's that since we're all the animated characters / images, we're all just in Clyde's head. This show is just him doing different voices.
Thanks for the explanation.
Aren't I my own weed, Clyde?
I know. I didn't know what to call him. We'll feed Clyde's.
The Clyde that reads.
As always, our show
Read
is
Clyde.
sponsored by those who donate to our channel, and we are very, very thankful for that. Those people sponsoring us today are Ori Main, Nathan, Cameron, Tetris Freak, Slowpoke Garcia, Mr. Fox-a-Lot, Gabby G. With, Vincent Veritas, Timberwolf, Golem, Lone Fury, Pablo Gomez, Strong Arm, Hellraiser, Kalet, and we also have that's it. Cool. We have a super chat from Slowpoke Garcia already saying that and to keep me away. He.
Yeah, the whole bunker thing. I think he's referring to.
Yes.
Secret bunker.
Furry genocide that Vincent was talking about.
No, you're not gonna avoid that one, buddy.
Hey, as Jordan of Shadow Lighting referenced our Quiplash answers.
Nice.
For $2. Thank you very much.
Nice.
So, as you guys can see, that our with YouTube downranking and suppressing a lot of conservative content, the best way to keep this channel alive, keep it growing, and to make sure we grow is to like, share, and subscribe. And if you like the content, please hit that bell button.
Ding, ding.
Ding, ding.
Oh, we did
yeah,
forget to update the donators. Aruka did remind us that she donated last stream.
Nice.
Thank you, Aruka.
Thank you, Aruka.
Yes, thank you very much. So we have a running, not tally, but spreadsheet of all the names. So as you guys all know, we are doing 2 raffles. However, there is a different raffle today. There is the Jawbreakers, as we've been doing for the last 3 weeks or so.
That is
And the
right.
Jawbreakers, it's Jawbreakers Remastered, an Indiegogo campaign that's already finished. And we're going to be raffling off 4 of those books and 3 of the pinups from that great comic book that has no politics involved. And we are probably the last, if not one of the last places you can still get a book, because that campaign is no longer going on. The other book is a book that I am forgetting the name of, but while we're doing this, I'll look it up. It was the one that Timberwolf gave us. If Timberwolf, you don't mind reminding me of what the book was. I see you're in chat right now. But we have 2 copies of another book that was done by a veteran that was donated by Timberwolf. So we'll be raffling that off instead of Dreamkeepers today.
Nice,
Oh.
nice. We got another Slowpoke Garcia Superberry for $2. He says, "Sacrifice me, Daddy, sacrifice me." The cringe is strong with this one.
Thank you. That was an impressive cringe. Anyways. So, while I'm looking that up, let's start this next story.
And that was Scared Duty by Tom Cotton.
Yes. Thank you. Sacred Duty.
Sacred Duty. My bad.
So Sacred Duty.
I don't read good.
Scared of duty.
If you wouldn't mind while we're doing the story, Clyde, pull that book up on Amazon so we can show a picture of it later.
Yeah, let's do that.
I appreciate it. Let's start with the first story. It's going to be GoFundMe border wall.
Construction of a privately funded border wall was instructed to halt immediately via a cease and desist order issued from the city of Sunland Park, New Mexico. The mayor, Javier Perea, announced on Tuesday that the property owner of the American Eagle Brick Company, on whose land the border wall is being constructed, must stop all operations or face a fine for every day they continue to violate the cease and desist order.
That
It
sounds
was
really
yeah, it was
unconstitutional.
Yeah, it's actually been overturned. By the way, they're working again.
Yeah, good.
Oh, cool.
That is ridiculous that the mayor and the city government thought that they could do that. That they thought that they could tell a owner of land of the land that they could not build a wall on their own land to protect it, to keep people out of their land. The fact that they had the gall to say no, not only you can't do that, but we're going to fine you for building on your property that you own.
One of the funniest things, like when I was reading it like a few days ago, was it violated city ordinance, at least according to some officials. Like, for example, like walls can't be over 6 feet. Like, and this is of course much taller than that. I'm like, what good is a wall that's only 6 feet?
Right.
Yeah.
For anything, for
It's
even
pretty
a backyard.
So does that mean houses are less than 6 feet tall in that town?
I don't know.
That's ridiculous. Is that a new city ordinance? I mean, my fence is 8 foot tall, so I mean,
If you've got pit bulls or something like that, you can't have fences less than 6 feet.
so yeah. Again, I've said this before. My fence is 8 foot tall. It's double paneled, has cement at the bottom, and electric wire sticking out the top and bottom to prevent digging and jumping. Because my dogs are dangerous.
Making fun of your accent, man. Is it cement or cement?
Cement. Or cement. You never know.
One day we'll cement that idea onto you.
As long as it's not semen at the bottom.
But the point is, my fence needs to be that way.
It's
Otherwise,
like a
my
moat.
dogs will get out. So, the money for this endeavor was provided by the organization We Build the Wall, a well-named organization, by the way, which managed to collect almost $23 million of its $1 billion goal during a GoFundMe campaign. This project was started by the U.S. Air Force veteran Brian Kolfage. The construction efforts are currently led by former Kansas Secretary of State and nominee to lead the U.S. Department of Homeland Security, Chris Kobach, along with former White House strategist Steve Bannon.
Strategery. Sorry.
The section along the Sunland Park and New Mexico border has a projected requirement of somewhere between $6 to $8 million to complete. While a half mile of segment alone may not sound impressive, this section of fencing would combine two larger 21-mile segments of pre-existing border walls. The structure stands at about 20 feet, extends another 7 into the ground with concrete poured into the holes, and even traverses up a 300-foot incline over mountainous terrain.
Nice. So this very small portion of the wall actually is going to have a very big impact. I do know that there was an article from, I believe, BuzzFeed that was mocking this wall, saying, "Oh, it's not being built in an important area." However, if it's joining two large sections, then it is an important area because it prevents people from being able to go around those two large sections.
Well, it actually shuts off three drug routes through the hills there. And while they were putting the wall up and filming the video for it, they had built the wall during this one section, and around over the top of the hill comes about 20 migrants. They looked at the wall and then turned around.
Nice.
I could not think of better advertisement.
Right? And they say walls don't work.
Oh, build that wall, baby. Yeah.
So I believe it's BuzzFeed. If I'm wrong, I'm sure I'll correct it in editing. But there was a left-wing media outlet that was saying, "Oh, this sectional wall is meaningless. It's in an unimportant area." Well, apparently you were wrong. It's already effective, and they weren't even finished building it yet. So, despite receiving approval from two different city of Sunland Park inspectors for construction, Mayor Perea states that the American Eagle Brick Company is still in violation of city law, alleging that those involved in the construction lack the necessary permits to claim that he claims that no survey or site plan had been submitted and that the application contained contradictory information but failed to provide details. But as it turns out, his lawsuit has already been overturned.
Yay.
Yay.
Sweet.
Perea also cited that this construction raises several issues for the city because even though the project is set on private land, it rests on an international boundary, which would require a city to consult with state and federal organizations such as the International Boundary and Water Commission. Mayor Perea also claimed to be in contact with the New Mexico Attorney General's office and has plans to reach out to the New Mexico Environment Departments.
Okay, I'm just going to say, if the president, the leader of the administrative, part of government, right? If he's saying he wants to build a wall, and the only thing preventing him from doing it is getting money allocated, I'm pretty sure every office below him is going to follow that, right?
Yeah. One would imagine.
So maybe they could get approval from all those different offices that are involved here, but since their boss is saying build it, I'm sure the answer is going to be is yes. So the Department of New Mexico Governor Michelle Grissom criticized the wall, stating it would not effectively address the humanitarian needs of asylum seekers or secure the border from human or drug trafficking. Okay, it is not meant to deal with the humanitarian issues of asylum seekers. That's something that the people in Congress should be legislating support for. They're refusing to. The wall, just because it doesn't address that issue, does address another important issue. So you don't have to address all issues at the same time. The argument that, the wall is just a barrier, it doesn't help out with the courts, it doesn't help out with helping asylum seekers. So what? Do other things that help those issues. The wall is specifically to stop illegal crossings. It's still important, even if it doesn't help what you care about.
Well, how are people going to apply for asylum if they don't come through a port of entry?
What they're currently doing is, because we have set up a situation that allows it, is if you just cross the border and then wait for border guards to come find you, they will take you to a processing area where eventually you can apply for asylum. They're doing it.
They'll let you go anyway because they're being overrun.
They will still let you go, but they'll give you a court date to come back, which you will then just not go to.
A wall will help alleviate that problem.
It will definitely make that process, more manageable. So despite the fact that its erection is combining pre-existing border wall segments and is located in a metropolitan area that sees a high activity of illegal immigrants influx. That was not said with the right intonation. I apologize.
Yeah.
So
erections.
So they're saying that it doesn't deal with human trafficking or drug trafficking, but it does combine two pre-existing sections of wall and is in a highly populated area. So it's an area that most likely the illegal immigrants are going to want to go to, and it's an area where there's already a lot of border crossings. So it is an important area to build the wall.
Yeah.
Agreed. Build the wall.
And of course, there's some of the some leftists who have some even more negative things to say about it. Executive Director Fernando Garcia of the Border Network for Human Rights claims it's a political stunt by white supremacist and xenophobic groups. Quote, "They are part of the same militia groups that are posing as law enforcement agents, arresting migrants at gunpoint and promoting fear in southern New Mexico. These extremist groups do not belong to our border community. They do not know our border, and we will not allow them to come and define it for us."
Okay, so a citizen can make a citizen's arrest of someone who's breaking a law. And we have some people who are, volunteer militia that are doing that. They're not just going around shooting people. They're not extremists. They're just trying to hurt, immigrants. They're stopping people from committing a crime and taking them to the authorities. That is okay in basically every other context. But for some reason, these people don't like it when it's in the context of illegal immigration, which is just another crime.
It's funny they say these extremist groups don't belong in our border community, and we will not allow them to come and define it for us. Really? Stop them.
Yeah.
They're really like they're a bunch of outsiders, but it's the property owner of the American Eagle Brick Company would argue with that.
Yeah.
And the people don't define the border, the landlines do.
Yeah. I also want to point out that if there is a city ordinance that says that a fence or wall cannot be a certain height, in this is not like a middle of a city, by the way. This is rural, right? If that exists, that is government overreach, and they can shove it. That should not be a law.
Yeah, that's true. I remember a story about a city ordinance that wouldn't give a permit for a guy to build a shelter for his horses. So he made a giant table and chairs because that wasn't illegal.
That's awesome. I love that.
The horses did too.
This is an example of government getting way too big and having too much of a control over your day-to-day life.
Yeah, next thing you know, they'll have wank license.
You got a license for that, mate?
Got a license for that wank, mate?
Yeah, a license for that spoon.
That potato peeler.
Yeah. That is the extreme of government overreach. Yes.
Yeah. So when you think it's not realistic for that sort of government overreach to happen, just look across the ocean.
Yep.
Or just skip a stone across the pond.
Or look north.
If your city
Face of
has
Canada.
ordinances like this, at the city level, you have the most power to make changes. I mean, often not a lot of people vote in those city elections. A whole people go to those city council meetings, right?
To be fair, they host them like the middle of the afternoon when most people they have to go to work, like
Right.
or provide for their family and maintain.
Yeah.
I think that might be on purpose.
The school. I'll tell you what. Here, like I said, I have a family member who works in the public school system, and every time the school superintendent has a open house or not an open house, but what do you call it? Town hall or something like that. He always does it at the last minute, like in some broom closet somewhere, like a 5-minute notification.
Mm-hmm.
Having a town hall. I want to hear from you guys. But he whispers it.
There needs to be like a heads up, a certain like grace period before you hold a town hall.
Yeah. I think
Yeah,
that
like
you
a
should,
decent allotment of time beforehand, not just like a few days. Like I'd say like even like a week or two.
Yeah. So people can plan the time off and show up.
Yeah.
Well, I think most jobs require 2 weeks notice, at least if you want to take like a certain day off, or I forget the rules exactly.
Typically. Money! That's Timberwolf donating on the Streamlabs donations for $2. He says, first Streamlabs for the month. Oh, cheers, buddy.
And you're the top donation there, big buddy.
Very top one.
You're the king of the roost right now, buddy.
King
Cock of
Day.
the walk.
Reminds me, we owe whoever was the previous person prize.
Oh, and you know what else reminds me? You owe Daychrist like 2 beers.
Yeah. I do.
What are you laughing at, Gabby? I think you owe him 2 beers too.
No, I don't. I had my 6 beers and my 4 shots of vodka. Don't tell me I owe any more.
Yeah, that's true.
Actually, please don't.
Hey,
Actually, please.
yeah. We'll get to those beers later. I don't have any on me. I really have no beers. But regardless, you should be involved in your local politics and what policies are being passed, because that's the area you have the most ability to make change. And I really think that if more people need to be involved to stop regulations like these from being enacted.
The problem is
or
there's
to
too many
reverse them.
busybodies involved. You get these old biddies that are like, I don't want to see people drying their laundry. And then you get stupid city ordinance where you can't have a clothesline in your backyard.
Yeah, I was about to say, it's like, well, if your fence could be taller than 6 feet, you wouldn't have to look at it.
There you go.
Yeah. We got a super berry from Kaylette for $2. Drunk time for Gabby. Make it so. Up and another one from Jordan of Shadow Lightning. $5.
This is not a drug stream.
No.
Drink-
Well, they're all
legit
drunk
don't have
streams
any
for me,
booze in the
man.
house.
Also, Little Giant J had a good point. He said, aren't city ordinances already over government overreach? So I kind of, or sorry, building code. Isn't building code government overreach? I think that the only exceptions are like for safety. I think generally the government should not have a right to tell what you can do with your land, right? I remember there was one city I lived in where there was a pig farm, and the city built around the pig farm, and they were getting pressure from the state and from the city to move, to sell their farm, because it was no longer farmland all around them. It was all residential, and they didn't like smelling a pig farm.
You hear that way too often, man. There was a community that decided to build around on top of a landfill close to here, on top of a landfill next to an asphalt plant. And then they all moved in, and then they all started griping about the asphalt plant. You're like,
Right.
get out of here. It used to be next to the dump. Right?
Right.
Like, it was put next to the dump because dumps stink and so does asphalt. So fuck you.
Yeah.
Anyway, we got a couple of ones. Did you get that one from Jordan? Vince?
Yes.
Oh, okay. You got that one from
Drink Dyer.
Drink Dyer for $5. Thank you so much, buddy. We got another one from Slowpoke Garcia this time for $2. He says, in the little asterisk, starts manhandling Dyer. Good Lord. I got nothing, so hold still. Don't worry. You're just Clyde's imagination, so I need to see someone about this. Yeah, you do. Yeah, you do.
You do. You really do, buddy. You shouldn't be role playing in Super Chats. just gonna put that out there.
Yeah, so I might say I think people should know if there's going to be something that's set for residential or for business, like for like dumps and such. I'm not sure that I won't want to say someone you can't build a house there, but I think people should know that this place is going to be used for industrial construction, right?
Yeah.
But I don't want to tell people so this farmer, he could, in some jurisdictions, they could have changed the zoning and made him sell his farm, right?
That's bullshit, though. Fuck that.
Yeah.
It's going against property rights, period.
Right.
I think if people form a community around something and then it becomes unsavory for them, they have every right to try to buy him out. And if he doesn't accept, they just keep offering more money until he does. But if you don't want to pay, fuck you if you want to use the government to kick him out of there. Screw that. I don't agree with that whatsoever.
I don't like eminent domain. I don't like city ordinance telling people what they can or cannot build on their property. I am okay with the idea of saying this zone is going to be used for these things and this zone is going to be used for this thing if it's already owned by the state and they're selling it to people, right?
Mm-hmm.
But what I don't like is you build an airport far from the city, and then the city expands around the airport, and then they want to close the freaking airport.
Yeah, that's not. They were there first. Yeah, that's ridiculous.
It's bullshit. It's absolute bullshit.
Yeah. Oh, eminent domain is more than just bullshit. It's immoral.
Yeah. It's bad, okay?
It goes against the whole idea of property rights. Period.
We're off the rails.
We are.
You're off the rails.
Face is off the rails, dragging on the floor.
I ain't got no rails. Where are the rails?
Crashed.
Picture, Clyde,
I crashed long ago.
So we are going to move on to the next story.
We have the picture for
which
the book.
Oh, we do. Yes. Here it is.
Okay, so this is the book we're raffling off today. It was donated by Timberwolf. Thank you very much. I have not read it, but he did, and he said it was good. I tend to believe him because he seems like a cool guy. Mm-hmm. All right, let's move on. Next story.
Sounds good.
Hillary Clinton is giving a keynote speech at a cybersecurity conference.
Ha!
Really can't make this up, guys.
It's not an Onion article.
No, it's not. Hillary Clinton, who went against all government policy by using a private email server in her home as Secretary of State, will speak at a cyber defense summit late in 2019. It was announced Thursday. FireEye, a cybersecurity company based in California, announced Clinton will give the keynote speech at its annual summit in Washington, D.C. in October.
FireEye said in a press release, cybersecurity is not any one defender's responsibility, but a global effort, a cause championed by many for the good of all, by coming together as a community to innovate, build strategies, and share knowledge on today's threats and tomorrow's risks. We empower ourselves as defenders with the collective wisdom to protect our way of life and technologies that have become central to it. Clinton will have plenty to talk about at the summit. Maybe like how she went against all wisdom with in regards to ComSec. What do you call it?
OPSEC.
Not OPSEC. That's operations security, communication security. There's another word for it. Anyways, she's subverted the best efforts to protect our technology and our information. Why would she be talking about how to protect it?
Yeah, she wanted. It's not like she did it by accident either. It's like she had to actually go out of her way and subvert the rules.
Yeah.
Because why? Why?
And she tried to freaking hide it. I mean, like she wasn't. She knew she was breaking the rules. That's why she had it in her fucking bathroom. Nobody will find it in there.
Yeah, the private email server that Clinton used while at the State Department contained tens of thousands of emails that contained classified information, including some at the top secret level. Clinton was widely ridiculed during the campaign when she was asked whether she deleted any of the emails from her server. Like, with a cloth or something? She asked in response to the question.
I just can't believe that she's going to a summit where they're going to talk about best practices with, cybersecurity when she went against all best practices and intentionally, endangered that information, secret information. I can't believe that she would be an expert they would call on. She's the worst person, the last person you should call on talk about cybersecurity.
Unless she's going to be shown as, unless she's shown as like a negative example in the corner with the dunce hat.
Yeah, that would be okay. I'd be okay with that. The FBI investigated Clinton for mishandling classified information, but she was not charged in the probe, thanks to James Comey, who did admit that she broke multiple laws, but that she wouldn't be tried because of how famous she was.
Thanks, James Comey.
Thanks, Comey. I'm glad you were so honest about it. It just bears open the corruption in the FBI. A lot of people lost all faith in the FBI because of you pointing out, yes, if you are really famous and powerful enough, you are, exempt from the law. What would normally get someone put in jail and definitely blacklisted from ever having a security clearance ever again, it doesn't matter if you're famous, it's okay. The disgraced FBI director called Clinton's use of the server extremely careless. Yeah, at a bare minimum. I'd say, is it careless when you do it intentionally?
Well, he changed the language to a careless because, to keep her from being prosecuted.
Yeah, it wasn't careless, Comey. She did it purposely. She knew that having a server, a private server, was a way to circumvent the government keeping records on your emails, so people wouldn't know the things she's talking about, with the people she's talking to. So I don't know if you guys know, but every single government email is saved, and they're supposed to be saved in case there's an investigation, if ever there's a request for documentation. That is required by law. She intentionally broke the law that requires the keeping of all these official records. So Comey said it made more. Comey said it made more valuable to cyber attack. Sorry, it made more vulnerable to cyber attack by foreign powers, though investigators did not find evidence that the server was hacked, though we did find out later, because the emails were hacked, that they were hacked.
So it really begs the question, why would the security firm hire Clinton to discuss cybersecurity? Is she supposed to deliver a speech on what not to do? Either way, she's either showing a shocking lack of self-awareness by accepting this job, or perhaps she's run out of money since the Clinton Foundation closed its doors.
So she's looking for any way to get money? She's probably talking anyway.
Oh, yeah. I mean, I'm surprised she's not giving out bad handies in the back alley.
Oh my God.
I bet if I offered a $5, she'd read stories at a school nearby.
Yeah. In a husky voice.
But yeah, it is now they have proven that because she used this server and then used it to communicate while she was in foreign countries around our adversaries, that those adversaries have her emails, and it's been suggested that some of our spies living in China, because during that time period, a lot of them were discovered and killed by the Chinese, that they may have gotten those names because of her using that server.
Yeah, it happened like months after her server became operational.
Yeah.
Yep.
So I'm just gonna put it on her plate.
We can't.
You
prove
did
it,
this.
But it's very suspicious that they found out all of those spies that don't all have the same handler. They don't communicate with each other. The assets, they don't have a network, right? They're not like a terrorist cell that all work together. They have handlers within the government. So if you find one, you don't find all of them. So it's very hard for them to have found all of the assets. And government officials have said that because of that breach, or however the Chinese got the names, they don't, I'm not gonna say how because they'd only be speculating. Whoever did, it put back our intelligence efforts in China back many years because now we have no assets there.
Yeah, human assets are the most difficult thing to get in place in any kind of espionage operation because you have to cultivate them. It's hard. I mean, you think about it. I mean, how hard is it to get people to do what you want in your day-to-day life? It's like herding cats.
Yeah.
Now you're trying to get now you're trying to get people that are like adverse to helping you from the get-go.
You have to get someone that
it's gaining all that trust, right? Like if it takes years and years and years to get yourself into a position where people are going to trust you, and then to be able to have a spy do that.
Be gone from me, you soy void beta cock. The transaction is complete.
Be gone.
Why does the Sever salesman look like Vince, like he's at work?
Well, that's because it is me.
There you go. That was Timberwolf for $10. Thank you so much, buddy. I made my night. That's hilarious. I found a better picture for the story. I didn't know if you guys noticed. I put that in there.
I did not notice it.
Yeah, like
I noticed it. It's clever. I love that meme.
Clever girl.
all right. So yeah, Clinton's still a scumbag.
Yep. Still.
Yep.
On to our next story. What do you think?
Yep. I think
Sounds
so.
good.
Booty Gig is a liar. Newsflash. Buttigieg is one of the less popular candidates running for the Democratic presidential nomination, which is really saying something. There's like 23 of them, and how many do you actually know by name? He doesn't even come close to the groper-in-chief Joe Biden, who leads with only 36% of support for the Democrats. The average of all nationwide polls has the booty judge only at 5.8%, saying that they'd vote for him. His chances of getting the nomination are pretty slim now, and after this week, they may have just gotten a little worse.
That's right. That's because this week, Pete's brother-in-law, Ryan Glesman, has gone to the media claiming that Pete Buttigieg has been lying about one of his main arguments about what makes him uniquely qualified compared to the sea of other Democratic candidates. He has consistently claimed that he was a rags to riches story, claiming that he could relate to people in poverty because he and his husband used to be very poor themselves.
This last Thursday, his brother-in-law went to Fox News' The Ingram Angle to claim that the narrative was a lie and couldn't be further from the truth. He said, contrary to Pete's claims, he never struggled with homelessness, and this rags to riches narrative was nothing more than a ploy meant to distinguish him from the crowd of other unpopular candidates. Because a victim card goes a long way in today's day and age.
Yep.
Amen. Speaking the truth, buddy.
Yep. It seems reasonable. I can imagine his thought process now. He was like, maybe if I lie about being a victim of the economy, maybe I can struggle my way up to being a distant fifth place with 6% of the votes. It's not like lying has really hurt any of the other Democratic candidates. In fact, with Warren lying about being Indian, Biden lying about not being a sexual predator, Hillary lying about her emails, Obama lying about Obamacare, and AOC lying about having a brain, it seems like a prerequisite. Prerequisite.
You almost nailed that whole thing, man. That was amazing.
Yeah, it seems like a prerequisite. God damn it.
Prerequisite?
You've been hanging around with Bob Walters?
I know, right? Seems like a prerequisite.
You wacky.
Comparison. I'm trying to get the soundbite, bruh. It seems like a prerequisite. In comparison, Buttigieg lying about his husband once being homeless seems like a small
Be gone from me,
small
you soy
comparison.
void beta cock. The transaction is complete.
You're going to have to wait
He's
for this one.
somehow less popular than Eric Swalwell. Daddy, give me your nuclear cummies, Swalwell, who has absolutely no support.
At least it was text to voice, so you didn't have to say that, Clyde.
No, thank you.
Money!
How much was that?
What'd he
for
say?
Slowpoke?
That was the first one was Slowpoke for 10, and we've got another one now, and that's Timberwolf for $2. He says, "Well, according that is the funnest way to say according or spell it. Well, according to Dems, If you in the 90%, you in the rags category. All right.
I like those
'Cause-
creative ways of spelling prerequisite in the chat.
Dyer, you're gonna have
Yeah.
to say that last line again, because the super chat went over it, or the Streamlabs
okay.
went over it.
Yeah, well,
In comparison, Buttigieg lying about his husband once being homeless seems small in comparison.
yeah, there you go. Yeah, Eric Swalwell has like 0% support. It's pretty funny. They showed that on the screen when they brought him on Fox News. They had Eric Swalwell with a big 0% while they were interviewing him.
It's not fair. He's got like 0.2.
No, it is. But they were only going by whole numbers, so it was so awesome. You should have seen the look on his face. He looked so dejected.
I just want to know, like, if there was a pie chart of all the candidates, just could you even see it?
No, you wouldn't be able to see it. It's just that small.
So
But what's funny is that someone else beats him out handedly. I would vote for someone else would beat out Buttigieg, and also Swalwell.
So it's worth mentioning that the brother-in-law doesn't seem to have gotten along well with the rest of Buttigieg's family and wouldn't have supported Buttigieg, lie or no lie. Glesman is a born-again Christian and a pastor who doesn't support gay marriage and is a conservative. People in Buttigieg's camp will likely say that means he's biased. He's a biased source whose opinion may be inaccurate. Glesman admits that he has also been estranged from Pete for the last decade. All that said, it still says something when your own family turns its back on you. At the end of the Fox interview, Glesman said, "Trump 2020."
I'll tell you why I believe the brother because I'll tell you why I believe the brother because of a puff piece done by Buttigieg's husband that was done by BuzzFeed. So this is a media source that's trying to do a positive piece on Buttigieg's husband. In the article, they described Cheston's poverty as making a living but not much more, which sounds a long way from almost homeless to me. The article also describes Cheston going to 4-H and having a Letterman's jacket, implying that he had money for other activities than simply just getting by. The worst part of his poverty as a child was described as, in the article, was as him wearing dirty clothing. So the worst part of his poverty described in the entire article was he wore dirty clothes. When the article described his poverty as a college student, they wrote that he held 2 jobs while he was in school. I'm sorry, but if you are spending money on going to university, then you're not broke. If you were, you would stop taking classes. I'm sure you would prioritize survival over education. Also, having 2 jobs and being able to pay for food and housing and for university education, that doesn't seem like almost homeless to me.
No, not a bit.
Welcome to the club, buddy. Everybody
Yeah,
does that.
living day, paycheck to paycheck is almost homeless. What? That's crazy.
But he had money for other activities that weren't just paying for food and housing.
Yeah, 4-H is expensive.
Right.
Oh, it is.
What is
He was in
4-H?
sports, which means you need to have time to travel to and pay for equipment to go to sports, meetups, to go to tryouts.
Yeah, if you have time for sporting events, you certainly would have time to have another job.
I can hear the protesters now. This is what poverty looks like. This is what poverty looks like. It looks like Xboxes and fucking futsal.
I think the problem is that some of these really wealthy elitist Democrats don't understand what poverty really looks and feels like. Having a smartphone is not poverty, you know?
Yeah, these same people complaining on social media about wanting their student debt forgiven or doing it on an iPhone 10X.
Yeah.
It's pretty funny.
So maybe he's struggling to get by when he spends a lot of money on things he doesn't need. But then again, that's because you're buying other things. Maybe you are prioritizing things poorly.
I'd
Is that
agree with
possible?
that. I'd agree with that, including some college educations.
Are you saying that he should take some responsibility for being bad with money, Direwolf?
I am.
Wow.
Does that make me a bigot?
Yes, it does.
Damn.
Yes,
That's
it
pretty
does.
classist of you.
Yeah.
Wah.
Speaking of shitty Democratic candidates, on to our next story. Yeah, that's the perfect theme song. Pocahontas is owned. Elizabeth Warren's campaign can't quite get past the fact that she lied about being a Native American. In the last year, we've covered how she's used the claim of Native American heritage to give her a leg up in getting accepted to a university, as well as a political tool to gain favor with the identitarian left. How does she justify the claim that she's Native American? High cheekbones. And her grandmother may have told her she was. That's about it.
She also said that because she had recipes published in a book called Pow Wow Chow that was supposed to be a collection of Native American recipes, that it was further proof of her heritage. Funnily enough...
She plagiarized that book.
Yes. We know.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, 3 of the 5 recipes she submitted under Cherokee Recipes were plagiarized from Better Homes and Gardens magazine. And one of the recipes was for crab with tomato mayonnaise dressing. I don't think I need to tell you that the Cherokee did not traditionally eat mayonnaise or crab, and definitely did not have canned crab like the recipe called for.
You know, actually, you guys, we really shouldn't be so hard on Senator Warren. After all, she's set to introduce a new act where she gives everything away for free to everybody.
Really?
Yeah.
She can start with her stuff.
It's called the Wrecking American Prosperity Under Marxism, or the Wampum Act.
Wampum right in the pocketbook.
Wampum.
Jeez Louise. Vincent, you say it like it's a good thing. It sounds like a horrible idea.
Oh, my bad. Hey, Jordan of Shadow Lightning, for $2 says leaves a little tasty superberry that says, "I was homeless once. You guys helped me a lot." Well, I'm glad that we bring you a little happiness.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Sweet, buddy. Thanks.
So the fact that she got published in a book of Cherokee recipes, that's not evidence that she's Cherokee. It's evidence that she benefited from the claim that she is Cherokee. Furthermore, her claim that she's Cherokee because of a distant relative is not what it means to be Cherokee. You're Cherokee if you're part of the Cherokee Nation, not because of genetics. Genetically, Native Americans are all similar to each other, and to other South Americans, genetics are useless for determining Indian tribal heritage.
Mm-hmm.
Yarp.
Warren found this out when she hilariously tried to prove her heritage by taking a DNA test that not only showed that she was less genetically similar to Native Americans than the average American, standing at an impressive 1 in 1,024th similar, but she also was immediately disavowed by the Cherokee Nation. Oof.
I think I have my dog is more similar than she is genetically.
Oh,
That's
The
rough.
average animal.
That's rough.
dude, when the Cherokee Nation dunks on you, you just gotta take the L.
Jeez Louise.
They said that she was not Cherokee and that DNA testing is not how citizenship is determined.
So she produced a expensive promotional video advertising her DNA test results, expecting that it's going to help her campaign, but instead it blew up in her face. She says since she's apologized and tried to move on, but voters on both sides won't drop the fact that she lied for so long and was benefiting from it. Even the Washington Post published an article saying that she was not fit to lead because of her lying.
Oh, that's gotta hurt.
Yeah, even when the Washington Post is turning on you, you don't have a chance.
Not as a Democrat.
Not as a Democrat. Then again, she used to be a Republican. Maybe she can try it that way.
Yeah, most recently, Warren appeared on a left-wing radio show, Charlemagne the God, where she was completely roasted. Charlemagne repeatedly asked her, "When did you realize you weren't Native American?" When she refused to answer Charlemagne said she sounded like the original Rachel Dolezal, referencing the white woman who claimed to be black and with nothing more than a tan and a perm, who managed to get promoted to the lead of an NPCCA chapter. After it was revealed that Dolezal had 2 white parents and no black relatives, she was just disavowed by the NPCCA and has become a living joke, much like Elizabeth Warren has. They can keep each other company. They could trade notes. The radio show she was a guest on is a far left-wing radio show that I've listened to, and it's pretty racist towards white people. I'm not at all surprised they treated her like the joke she is.
We have a $5 super berry from
Be gone
Kaylet.
from me, you soy boy beta cock. The transaction is complete.
Just to get Timberwolf and Slowpoke Garcia to step it up?
Wow,
Calling you guys out.
that was Daychrist for $100. Yeah. Thank you, buddy.
Well, thank you, Daychrist. That's awesome.
Thank you, Daychrist.
Kaylet for $5. A little super berry. Says I have to read this in Gilbert Gottfried's voice. You're homeless if you aren't a billionaire for sitting on your ass. Vote Bernie. However, Charlemagne did make a good point about Warren. He pointed out that Warren used to be a Republican when it politically benefited her. He pointed out that she called herself a Native American when it politically benefited her. She couldn't really provide any better justification for changing parties than she could for claiming to be a Native American. We should thank Charlemagne for exposing her as a political opportunist with no real values of her own. Well, I'm sorry it wasn't a great Gilbert Dick Nose.
Better than I could have done.
Oh my God, I'm not even gonna.
This is why no one likes you, Shaman.
Yeah. Screw you, Shaman.
Now we got 2 of those who want to kick him off.
Yeah.
Yes, Dick Nose.
Yeah, Dick Nose.
That's you. You're Dick
I still
Nose,
prefer
Shaman.
Slapnut.
Yeah, that's Slowpoke.
Oh yeah, Wonder Nuts. Oh, that's the other one.
So now do we have 2 votes on permanently banning him? Can we
No.
finally...
No.
I don't want to ban him. I just
keep pissing him off, Shaman.
I like how he annoys you guys, so I'm keeping him around.
He only annoys me because he's annoying.
Yeah, I did that like on the fly. Come on, guys.
Yeah, I'll give you credit for it, buddy.
Thank you, buddy. Appreciate it. See, Clyde's got my back. All right, we ready to go?
I like how it went quiet for a second.
Yep.
I know it was dead air, Cream Wasabi.
No, I was giving you a fist bump and you missed it. You're not watching.
All right.
That's because I can't move my arms. Mexico is worried about a tariff. This week, border guards have set yet another record with 1,000 illegal aliens detained at the same time after crossing the border into El Paso. I think it was like at 4 a.m. or something like that. It's not too far away from here. These are not the kind of records, however, that anyone should be proud of. Records like these are just further examples of the situation at the border that even the left-wing media has started to admit is a full-blown crisis. We have literal caravans of illegal immigrants arriving every day, being aided by far-left globalist groups. I don't understand. Well, I do understand it. It's annoying. It's more annoying than Shaman King. We don't have the physical barriers, enough border guards, or immigration judges to deal with this many illegal aliens. And still the Democrats in Congress are stonewalling any efforts to alleviate the situation.
Because of their inaction, Trump is being forced to use every tool at his disposal. Trump's latest action Thursday was to announce new tariffs on all Mexican imports, starting at 5% on June 10th and increasing 5% each month up to 25%. His proposed tariffs will stay in place until the Mexican government takes substantive actions to stem the tide of illegal immigrants into the country. And the Mexican government took it very seriously because they were terrified.
Winning with the lines. I did the math quickly last night, and I think it was in the month of June alone, from June 10th to July 10th, it'll be revenue gotten from Mexico because of the 5% tariff would be at roughly $3.8 billion. And that's based on their GDP being, I think it was 7.4. I can't remember the exact numbers. And 80% of it being with the United States, like selling to the United States.
We are their number one trade partner. They are our number one trade partner at the moment after the tariffs of China.
Right, and if it goes up to 10% from July 10th to August 10th, that'll be what, like 7 point something billion dollars revenue for the United States to allocate towards the border wall on top of the 3.8. And then after that, it'll go up to 15%, and then it's at like over $10 billion on that in that 30 days.
Well, you think
that
about
wall's
it,
gonna
man.
get built quick, man.
Well, you think about it, dude. This is something that Mexico has to address, okay? Because this is okay. A lot of people say, "Oh, well, that's not the way tariffs work and everything." We understand that the tariffs aren't going to be beneficial to us too, but we can easily take a hit before Mexico can.
Yep.
This is crushing to them. I mean, this if it could. Oh, can you imagine if it got to 25%?
25% is massive.
That's threatening to take.
This is a massive game of chicken.
Well,
This is
25.
threatening.
You got to think of it. It's 25% of 80% of their GDP.
Yeah.
This is basically threatening to crush Mexico under our boot.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's what it is. If okay, I'm gonna hold my comment about whether, because I'll tell you what. So far along about the immigration thing, building the wall, that sort of thing, Trump sometimes doesn't follow through with his threats. Okay, but if this is actually like set into place, it will increase every month. This is almost as bad of a threat. We might as well just say we're going to attack you.
Yeah. This would, if we actually get to 25%, it will not only collapse their entire economy, it will collapse their government. They would go into anarchy. This is a serious threat. And I don't like the idea of tariffs in general, and we'll get into that in a bit. But I don't think this threat is one that he plans on following through with, because the Mexican government, as they've already demonstrated, will not let it happen, because it would mean destruction of their government.
Yeah, so he said in a statement on Thursday, if Mexico still has not taken action to dramatically reduce or eliminate the number of illegal aliens crossing its territory into the United States, what's that? It would seem that the Mexican president, Andres Manuel Lopez, who has routinely criticized Trump, took this threat seriously. He dispatched his foreign relations secretary to Washington on Friday to negotiate a solution. So
Yes.
It's like the day that it was announced, he sent him to the States.
Yes, and Trump also set these tariffs to take place next month, giving them time to negotiate.
Give him 10 days notice, man. 10 days notice. But here's the thing. You ask nice, and they don't comply. They cheat. They're not going to be, good trading partners.
They openly criticize Trump. They mock him.
So this is how you play hardball. This is how hardball's played. You throw them softballs for a little bit, and then if they don't bite, you go, all right, smash.
Yeah.
This is how it's gonna be. And come and talk to me. But until you convince me that you're gonna actually follow suit with the shit that you're saying, I'm gonna put this in place.
Yeah, everyone who might think that this is like, too much, it's too heavy-handed. Trump, on his very first month, told the Mexican president that he's going to put tariffs on them unless they stop the illegal immigration and do something to help with the wall, right? Mm-hmm. And he's been making that threat for his entire presidency.
Over 2 years.
Yeah, 2 years. And how has the Mexican president responded? The Mexican president has mocked him, come and done speaking events in America, criticizing the president and saying that he would not help him with his policy or would not support his policy. And so he's pushed back against Trump. And Trump has done everything else possible other than doing tariffs. It seems to me that Trump is very opposed to tariffs. Mm-hmm. He said he wants free trade. He's only using them with China with the end goal.
Winks the biker says no, tariffs are bad for us. It artificially inflates our imports. Tariffs are bad.
Yeah.
Okay, tariffs are bad. But the thing is this. Our economy, let's look at it this way. We have the number one military in the world. We also have the number one economy in the world.
Mm-hmm.
You can fight different ways. Right now, using our economy to fight is a lot more sensible than using our military
I
to
agree.
fight.
Please don't use our military. I'd rather not.
Yeah. I
So,
agree.
yeah, we're not tariff guys. We're not saying, oh yeah, tariff them, tax them. That's not what we're saying. What we're saying is that the tariffs, while they will sting short term, they will solve problems that will benefit us more in the long term.
It will involve less tariffs, by the way.
Which will
Yeah,
involve.
it's just a certain leverage to get other people to play nice or play ball fairly.
That's what it is. And if you know what, the thing is that in a perfect world where people have free trade and everybody traded nice and fairly, and people didn't artificially manipulate their currency, and people didn't do this, and they didn't cheat and skimp and everything, it wouldn't be necessary to play hardball. If they want to play it soft, we'll play it soft. They want to play it hard, we'll play it hard.
But yeah, when it comes
Guess
to
what?
China, it's like respect our intellectual property laws, or we're gonna have to do something about it, and that's what the tariffs are about. Do something about it.
So at the same time that Trump is making this threat, which I don't think he wants to go through with at all, keep in mind he's also negotiating with both Canada and Mexico a new trade deal that would have drastically fewer tariffs on both sides than currently are in place.
That's true, and God help Clyde. He needs some better cheese.
Right?
Right, send the man
Cheese,
some
man.
cheese.
I need some cheese.
Cheese is a human right.
And y'all can't just send it to me. You'll get put in jail. You just got
Cheese traffickers.
right. We just got a Streamlabs donation from Gollum. Donated $2. He says, serves Mexico right. They're being very ungrateful to America when we're 80% of their revenue. Then they let floods of illegals over the borders. We can do this the easy way or the hard way. Your choice, Mexico. I agree with that 100%, man.
I do too, and it was actually really funny. You're talking about how Mexico is disrespecting Trump and America in general.
Yeah.
Before Trump announced his tariffs, the Mexican president had made a statement, an open letter, telling Trump that America is for migrants.
Yep.
Screw off.
And then that's what he
Screw
said.
off.
America's for migrants. Well, guess what America is really for? Americans. America. I want them to ticker jurors. So you want me to go, Dyer? What is it? What are you doing there?
Yep.
All right. If Trump had wanted to put tariffs on Mexican goods, he could have done it as soon as he was elected. He actually threatened he'd do just that only a couple months after being elected. He's tried every other method to force Congress to take action, and they've all failed. The only progress he's made is he's made through his executive powers. Tariffs is one of the few remaining powers that he had and that he's been holding out on. I think Trump knows that putting tariffs on Mexico is going to hurt the economy, but he's gambling that those tariffs won't be in place long, if at all. He's using them as a negotiating tactic to get Mexico to take responsibility for their side of the border, rather than like ferrying the thousands of illegals through their country and getting rid of them as soon as possible. Stop them at their side of the border. They got a wall down on the southern border of Mexico.
Exactly. So Mexican President Odor, how do you say his name?
Where does it say? Right. Obrador.
Obrador. Okay. Mexican President Obrador responded in a letter late Thursday telling Trump that social problems are not solved with duties or coercive measures. Actually, I think they're going to work just fine. And said that the United States has a history of being a nation of immigrants. The Statue of Liberty is not an empty symbol, he wrote. Okay.
Go ahead.
How about, I'm tired of people who aren't citizens of our country telling us what our country stands for.
Or that saying, like, being against illegal immigration means you're against immigrants.
Yeah.
No, they're not the same thing. There's a distinction. There's a clear distinction.
You're the president of Mexico. Try governing your shithole country that's falling apart and owned by cartels. Start with that. We'll worry about our country.
Yeah, how is he not concerned that so many citizens are fleeing from his country?
Yeah, maybe.
How is he not concerned that 80% of his GDP is to one fucking country?
Maybe you don't understand, Orador. You are Trump's bitch right now. He's gonna fuck you real hard if you don't do what he's asking. Consider that.
Yeah, like you really got to think at this point, not if the dick's in you, but how deep is it?
Yeah.
If you put all your eggs in one basket, like, don't go rocking the nest.
Yeah, he's giving you lots and lots of time. 2 years,
2 years
of time,
man.
asking you pretty politely to do something, and you've refused. In fact, you responded by mocking him. Well, know what? Chickens have come back to roost. He's going to make you do it.
Yeah.
See, Clyde, go ahead and put that up.
Okay.
This is what pisses me off. Let me find
One of the users in side chat said his name is Obrador. That's Spanish for workshop. His name is President Workshop. If that's true, that's funny.
Okay, see, people talk about, oh, America is a nation of immigrants. It was made by immigrants. Immigrants did this, immigrants did that, right? You always hear that narrative, right?
Yeah.
Okay, that's those right there. See those people right there? Those are the immigrants that built America. Okay, now here are the immigrants that you see now. Okay.
There's a stark difference there. The first image,
I'm glad you noticed that, Clyde.
People were doing stuff, like actually working and producing things.
Yeah, people were building a country. They were going into a hostile wilderness, and I don't know, building houses and roads and cultivating the land, turning it into a land that future generations could prosper from, right? And you see that generation right there, that little line, that's standing in line to benefit from all the prior generations' work.
Yeah.
And sweat.
Built, yeah.
So, F you with your immigrants.
Yeah. The whole idea that it's a nation of immigrants. It was a nation of people that worked hard.
Right.
To build shit.
Yeah.
And
so,
yeah, if you don't want to do that, if you don't want to work hard and build shit, well, ain't no room for you, bud.
I talked about this with Vincent prior to the show, but people, they say that the defining characteristic of the people that came to America and built it was that they were immigrants. And yes, they were immigrants, but it wasn't everyone who came here that did great things. Some people who were immigrants did great things to build this country. It wasn't because they're immigrants that led them to do those great things that helped build this country. The people that are coming here now, what makes them good or bad is not that they are an immigrant. What makes them good or bad is what their individual merits are. And a lot of these people are coming here, they're not coming here with the merits that those people that built this country had. The identity group of being immigrant is not a good or bad thing.
I still don't understand it. How does someone say that, well, when I was in Mexico, I wasn't very helpful, but now that I'm not a citizen, but I'm on my way to become a citizen, I'm super helpful. Like, how you're either you're helpful person or you're not a helpful person. And if Mexico is full of helpful people, wouldn't they have a great place?
Yeah. What we have is a bunch of people with no job skills, no money, no education, and don't speak the language, and they're coming here to ask for free things.
Yarp.
Yeah.
And it annoys the crap out of me. Trump tweeted Friday, Mexico has taken advantage of the United States for decades. What was that? Is that the call to prayer, Gabby? What's going on over there?
That is the local wildlife. This is the hell I live in.
Is someone shouting, Gabby?
I am going to mute myself until that drunk ceases.
Trump tweeted Friday, Mexico has taken advantage of the United States for decades. Because of the Dems, our immigration laws are bad. Mexico makes a fortune from the U.S. and has for decades. Wow, he's repeating himself. They can easily fix this problem. Time for them to do what must be done.
I mean, the sentiment's good. I agree with it. I mean, not the best tweet he's ever tweeted, though.
No, it was pretty bad.
But you know what? Lindsey Graham had a great response. He said, I support President Trump's decision to impose tariffs on Mexico until they up their game to help us with our border disaster. The illegal flow from Central America must stop, and Mexico needs to do more.
Yep.
That's the truth.
Yeah, and as soon as they do more, lift the tariffs. I mean, it's fair.
Yep.
Just be fair about it. And
yeah.
But Trump hasn't proven otherwise that he's not a fair person. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
He's actually proven that giving the guy 2 years to make steps towards solving this problem, he's been more than fair. You know what I mean?
Yes.
Yeah,
and he also said
all he got was mocked for it.
Yeah.
Oh yeah. Was. He also said that he would end the tariffs based on him approving the plan or actions done by the Mexican government. So they have to come to him and say, here's what we've done, or here's what we're planning on doing. Do you approve of that? Is that sufficient? I like that they have to come to him.
Yeah, it's based on his when he's satisfied with their
when he says.
I gotta know, Gabby, did they find Charlie yet?
I think so. Either that or they passed up trying.
Substantive. There you go. Substantive. It goes awry when I say it fast. Substantive.
You could say significant.
Significant.
Money!
Substantaneous.
Good Lord, Slowpoke.
Oh my God, I gotta read this thing?
Is that another novel?
Jesus. I might just cancel halfway through. Slowpoke Garcia donates $2. He says, the original immigrants that built America died as Americans because this was their country, their home. They didn't say that this country is built by immigrants. When your people come here and refuse to call themselves Americans, who refused to become one of us? Yeah, okay, so that's an interesting point to bring up. So it's a nation of immigrants, but none of them want to say that they're immigrants. They want to say they want to retain their national identity from
they're all waving Puerto Rican flags, Honduran flags, Mexican flags. They don't wave American flags.
Yeah, stop calling yourself an immigrant. Call yourself a migrant visitor.
Well, in any case, yeah, day worker.
Daywalker, what?
They're Zambies, man. They're all
Daywalker.
All right, let's go.
Next story, LA is falling apart. We've covered aspects of this story a few times in the past, most notably when we discussed the typhus outbreak that occurred in the LA Silly Hall. Yeah, the Silly Hall. Man, I think LA would be
I can't think of anything
better...
else that can explain LA.
Well, I mean, it is Clown World after all.
It would be a better city if it had a Silly Hall. When we discussed the typhus outbreak that occurred in the LA City Hall, that's when it came as no surprise to us when Dr. Drew Pinsky recently said that the public health situation in the nation's second largest city is in a complete breakdown. We have a complete breakdown of the basic needs of civilization in Los Angeles right now, Pinsky told host Laura Ingraham.
And Pinsky continues, we have the 3 prongs of airborne disease. Tuberculosis is exploding and rodent-borne. We are one of the only cities in the country that doesn't have a rodent control program, and sanitation is broken down.
Pinsky made the comments after the news broke that Los Angeles police officer had contracted typhoid fever. There will most likely be another typhus outbreak this summer, just like last, Pinsky predicted. Meanwhile, bubonic plague, the infamous pandemic that killed tens of millions of people during the 14th century, is likely already present in Los Angeles.
This is unbelievable.
That's fucking insane. Sorry, I just had to say that. Go for it. I didn't mean to cut you off. I just fucking just blurted out.
Yeah.
That's fucking insane.
It's true.
It calls for a momentary, like, what the fuck? Pinsky goes on, I can't believe I live in a city where this is not third world. This is medieval. Third world countries are insulted if they are accused of being like this. No city on earth tolerates this. The entire population is at risk.
And he's right. The sanitation and regressive policies are really just part of the problem. Homelessness, drug addiction, and mental health problems are already straining the capabilities of California. The state can't handle the current situation, as well as allowing tens of thousands of illegal immigrants with no health records to flood its major cities.
Like, it's not already bad enough. That is a recipe for disaster.
Oh, it's asking to be killed off by disease.
It's like, we have rampant diseases and we have no rodent control program, and let's just have thousands more potential carriers flood into the
Yeah, from the third world.
population. Okay. Yeah, untested. Like, okay.
Absolutely insane. Absolutely insane. I'm glad that you pointed out the fact that, you know, the third world is insulted by being compared to them. You know what I mean? Because the third world is like, nah. We don't have typhoid and we don't have the plague, the bubonic plague. Like, that is old news. You kidding?
Pinsky said the government is somehow insisting that housing is the problem, when in fact we have chronic mental illness, we have addiction, we have people who don't want to leave the streets. They literally won't take the housing if we give it to them. And that's the population that's vulnerable and is going to get so ill this summer. It scares me for their well-being.
It reminds me of something that a buddy of mine said when I was younger. Because we were walking down the streets of Toronto, and there's all these homeless people. And in Toronto, what they do is they find like a subway grate where the air is coming up from the subway, and that becomes their home for the winter because it's warmer than the ambient air. And my buddy says to me, he's like, "This is crazy to me. If I was homeless and like couldn't get a job, I have a job because I'm not lazy or whatever. But if I like couldn't get a job, and I don't know why these people don't have jobs, I would just walk to California where the weather's good."
I mean, that's also one of the things that are appealing about this place.
But he's like, if I had nothing to do all day, like a 9-to-5 job, I just walk it. I couldn't afford a bus ticket. I just go where the weather's good.
Yeah, but you can't have a shopping cart on the side of the freeway though.
I guess. I don't know. I just thought it was hilarious that he brought that up. I mean, we were like 16-year-olds or some shit.
So that's why leftist politicians aren't doing more to alleviate these conditions. Pinsky said, "They're disgustingly negligent." Quite the understatement. Truth is that the politicians that run the state just don't care for their citizens at all. They love to virtue signal, but when it comes to actually being virtuous, they're nowhere to be found.
The part about them turning away housing is definitely frightening. It's like they are offered amenities, literally. Like, no, thank you.
Yeah, it's insane to me. Like, for the most part, like, unless you have like some real mental illness problem, I think homelessness is by choice in the free world. You know what I mean? Like, well, I might have to do with drug addiction and stuff too, but like, get off the drugs, Jesus. But of all the people that I've run into that were homeless and I've actually talked to, you know what I mean? Because like, I'm not just gonna give you my money, but I might have a conversation with you. Mm-hmm. Ask them, like, seriously, do this sometime. If you see a homeless person, take them out for lunch and ask them a whole bunch of questions, and you'll find out that I'm gonna rough guess it, but like 80 to 90% of these people are homeless by choice, and it's a lifestyle thing. It's like, well, I don't want to get a job because a job's gonna, you know, come with responsibilities, and I don't want that, and blah blah blah. That's usually what I hear from them. Tell me if I'm wrong, audience. Tell me if I'm wrong.
I used to work in a food kitchen, and you're completely right. There's a bunch of them that they just like that they can get free food, and they don't care about roughing it in a nice weather area. They just don't want to work a job. Everything they need is provided for them.
A lot of that all that keys in with the whole mental health thing. You know what I mean? Someone that doesn't want to get a job or have responsibility or something like that, and they may have extenuating circumstances. They may be depressed, clinically depressed. You know, they may have lots of. I mean, it could be beyond that as well. But all these things are factors that interlock together like Lego blocks, you know, and form Voltron. And it's one enormous problem, and it's one that since didn't they got rid of a lot of the state hospitals and whatnot where people like this should be cared for. You know what I mean? I mean, it sucks to say that, but a lot of these people are so mentally ill and violent, they shouldn't be on the street. And they need to be cared for. I think getting rid of asylums is probably one of the worst things that we've ever done to the mentally ill community.
Yeah. No, I agree with what you're saying there. But, like, I think there's a huge swath of the homeless community that are, like, punk rockers that are just like, I don't want to get a 9 to 5 and all squeegee cars, you know what I mean? And a lot of them actually make a killing, make a decent amount of coin. They just drink it all, you know what I mean?
I mean, there's a reason why places like New York City, you have to have like a license to beg.
What?
I think. Not a license, but a permit? No, or something. I don't know. Like, if you want to beg within city limits, I don't know. I thought there was some kind of requirement. I could be totally wrong and talking out of my butt.
You got a license to be a bum, mate.
You got a license to be a bum?
That's ridiculous.
But you know, there are people that are hard up, right? And like, you know, like shit goes wrong in someone's life and then they end up out on the street, and that sucks, and I feel really bad for those people. But, you know, a majority, like anyone that I've ever met or talked to that was in that situation did end up quickly getting back on their feet, and they may have been on the street or whatever for like a year or something like that, maybe 2. But they did end up getting back on their feet because they had their head in the right place, right? And it wasn't just a fashion statement. And not mentally ill, you know what I mean? Like mental illness, like you said, Vince, is a thing that actually leads for people to be like that. But I remember punk rockers back when I was younger, they lived on the street because it was cool, you know, and they lived in squats and shit like that, and they like take up abandoned places and just like usurp it as if it was their right to own it, you know what I mean? And just trash places and all that crap. That was like a popular thing to do in the 90s with the punk rockers.
Yeah. Oh, I mean, I'm not gonna lie, been there, done that. I had lived a lifestyle that was pretty punk rock for a while, but not anymore.
Not anymore. You cleaned up and you look fantastic, buddy.
Thanks, buddy. Anyway, on to our next story. This is awesome. The New York Times is embarrassed of CNN and MSNBC.
And they should be.
And as they should be. Imagine being a news network so detached from factual reality that one of the most left-leaning newspapers in the country bans its reporters from appearing on your network. Don't imagine too hard, though, because the New York Times has made liberal cable news programs such as MSNBC's The Rachel Maddow Show and CNN Tonight with Don Lemon off limits because they're too partisan.
Vanity Fair reported that Times executive editor Dean Paquette is concerned with his reporters who appear on particular programs. Is concerned that his reporters who appeared on particular programs would be perceived as being aligned with the show's far left politics. The New York Times is the nation's most liberal paper. Why are they suddenly concerned that their employees appearing on air with Brian Stelter and Don Lemon might be too far left?
The Times is liberal on the opinion and news pages of every major issue facing the nation, from abortion to taxes. Somehow MSNBC and CNN are considered even further left? Does this show a shocking lack of self-awareness or an abundance of it? Does anyone from the New York Times actually read the New York Times?
Jesus, dude. That's funny.
If they want to avoid the appearance of overt partisanship, they might try taking a look in the mirror first.
They probably, with their lack of self-awareness, do not own mirrors for that reason. It is possible that with scandal after scandal rocking MSNBC and CNN, that the Times is scared and doesn't want to be burned by the conspiracy TV media mob. Perhaps it is signaling a recommitment to actual journalism that all leftist rags have been sorely lacking for over a decade.
I seriously doubt that, though.
I seriously doubt it too. I think that they're no less of a partisan than they were before. I think they just see that their compatriots in the left-wing media have gone too far, and they want at least to continue to hide the fact that they're completely biased rags. Right? The mask is slipped on CNN and MSNBC. They've gone too far. They've showed their hands. Everyone knows that they have a narrative that they're pushing, and they don't care about lying to the population. The New York Times thinks that they can still hide the fact that they're biased. You keep the ruse of bipartisanship, or being unbiased for a little bit longer. And they want to do that. I think their goal is just to not associate themselves with the ones who've already made it obvious that they are biased.
Yeah, no, I agree. They're standing at the bus stop, and the bus is coming, and they're standing next to Rachel, and they just, what's that? Throw her under. Because, I mean, everybody sees it now. Everybody sees it. The Russian conspiracy crap. They played into it too hard. They've lost all credibility, and they're losing ratings like no tomorrow. So these other publishers they're not innocent of this, but they don't have that associated with their name, so they're going to distance themselves as much as they can.
Yeah, this is just a financial decision. That's all it is. It's branding.
Yeah.
There's no doubt denying that the Times is right about MSNBC primetime shows, as they are hotbeds for the resistance. But if MSNBC is that home on television, the New York Times is without a doubt their newspaper doppelganger.
The transaction is complete.
Okay, Dacris, this all I got to give. We know you'll dominate the donations.
So.
Damn, Timberwolf pulling ahead like a champ, and you're muted, Clydo.
Jeez, I am. Sorry, blah, blah, blah. That was Timberwolf for $100. Thank you so much, buddy.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you very much,
sir.
Timberwolf.
So while it's nice that they're realizing something a lot of us already know.
Hey, Vince, would you redo that last line?
I certainly will. There's no denying that the Times is right about MSNBC primetime shows, as they are hotbeds for the resistance. But if MSNBC is that home on television, the New York Times is without a doubt their newspaper doppelganger. So while it's nice that they're realizing something that a lot of us already have known about how biased they are, it would behoove them to take matters into their own newsroom first.
Leftist news personalities predictably have their own opinions, saying that the Times has jumped the entire school of sharks, and that their actions are bad for the Times, for journalism, for an informed public, and just dumb. Okay, bad for an informed public. Do you think that the public was well served by 2 years of straight up lies and conspiracies? Do you think that informing of the public was a positive thing? Because if you're informing the public of lies and trying to control what they think by sharing only one narrative and not just the truths of the situation, is that positive? Because I think that it matters what you're informing the public of.
Yeah, definitely.
One guy.
I wouldn't call that journalism. So I'm sorry, I cut you off.
It's all good. One guy that is particularly triggered is Worst Journalist of the Year, Don Lemon, or Don Lemon. Lemon attempted to downplay the apparent blacklist, but was obviously butthurt by the report. He said, "It would be extremely short-sighted if they are banning reporters from my show, when journalism is under attack. We should support each other, period."
Yeah, journalism is under attack by people like Don Lemon. Because he's calling himself a journalist while actually acting as an activist. He's ruined the name of journalist.
Sure has.
and a refusal to go on to shows that are, conspiracy theorist shows is not an attack on journalism. However, I would point out, if you were really truly opposed to fake news and activist journalism, then you should actually be trying to get onto those shows. So you could be a counter argument. If the New York Times really was dedicated to the truth and fighting fake news, I would think they would be putting people on shows like Don Lemon's and on MSNBC's shows and providing a balanced perspective to compared to their biased perspective, if that was really their goal. But I know that's not their goal, because their response is to run away. That's because they're trying to preserve their bottom line by not being colored with the same brush that MSNBC and CNN have been.
Yup.
But it's their own doing.
Also, Paul, sorry.
It's their own doing entirely.
Yeah.
I mean, they were going for the ratings because, criticizing Trump for shit that he didn't do was what got them ratings, even though it wasn't true. You know what I mean?
It was incredibly short-sighted, and they burned out.
Exactly.
Yep.
So you're getting what you deserve, Don Lemon. You know, Rachel Mad Cow. Like that's what you get. You went for the short run, and you had your short run, but now it's over. It's over.
The bump is gone. The thrill is gone, my friend.
Yeah. Good job.
Yep.
Good job while it lasted. See you later.
Yep. DePaul University professor Jeffrey McCall concurs, saying that it's wise for the Times to carefully assess where its reporters appear as guests.
He said news outlets such as the Times need to protect their more objective reporters from the appearance that they're playing a partisan role for the broadcast outlet's benefit. The news industry already suffers from public perception that real reporters are agenda-driven, and trotting reporters into opinion shows that just fuels that problem, McCall said. In a sense, partisan television interview shows want to use real reporters as props to borrow the credibility of direct news reporting to support their opinion angles.
I actually completely agree. News organizations should just let their objective news stories speak for themselves without having to trot out those reporters to engage in chit-chat with slack-jawed partisan pundits. That's how we ended up with hacks like Mad Cow, Lemon, and Stelter in the first place.
Speaking of Lemon, we just got a Lemon on D Live from Timberwolves. Thank you very much, buddy.
Well, thank you for the Lemon. The sour
a
bitter
lemon that
milk.
we can actually enjoy.
Yeah, that's, the difference between never mind.
No? The difference between what?
Nothing.
Are we not pronouncing
I know you were
lemon
going
lemon
with that.
anymore? I thought that was funny.
Lemon.
Don Lemon.
Yeah, you telling someone to go suck on a lemon has got a new connotation these days.
Oh my god.
Brian Stelter.
Yeah, he's not getting out of this one. He's definitely part of the brigade, the whole brigade of faux news.
The low testosterone news brigade. I don't know.
He can't help it. He's a eunuch. He's
Well,
smooth.
I know.
He's smooth
And it's
down there.
really-
He looks like a
it's
Ken
really
doll.
not that title doesn't really work because I know Mad Cow's got a freaking assload of testosterone running through the manly jawline.
Yeah. I think Stelter is just a tool. It just reads the teleprompter, right? I don't think he really thinks for himself, but I think Mad Cow really did guide that show off the cliff. Same with Lemon. I think he really is a hardline racialist identitarian, right? And he leads his show that direction. I think Stelter's just an idiot.
I think that Rachel Mad Cow is going to gain the reputation for being that crazy lady that you see at the airport. Because no one watches it at home.
See, I disagree with you, Dyer. I think Stelter knows exactly what he's doing. But I think he's one of those little fucking biddies, right? Like, he thinks he's winning because he's on the side of what the trend is going with his little in-group. And he's just fucking he's snarky, you know, one of those fucking douchebags. But as soon as it doesn't turn his way, he'll switch like that. I'm sure he's just an opportunist douchebag.
Maybe, but he totally read those obvious lies from CNN that they weren't having any layoffs when he knew that they were. But he read it anyways, and then 1 week later they proved him to be a complete liar by laying people off.
Yeah.
Well, he did it so he could keep his job.
But he's an opportunist, fucking douchebag. That's what I'm saying.
They showed him to be a tool, right?
Oh, he's totally a tool.
No, that's not fair. Tools are useful.
Oh.
That's an insult to.
That's an insult to wrenches everywhere.
Tools of my progeny.
Exactly.
Wow.
Good take, Gabby.
Singing commentary there.
Like that.
I stand corrected. I apologize.
We have a $5 super berry from Kaylet. Lefties can't see a mile down the road. That's why they support socialism, SJWism, and AOC.
Oh, Jesus, AOC. Yeah. See, oh my God.
Thank you very much for that.
Thank you, Kaylet.
I can't wait till she gets primaried.
Yeah, it's gonna happen.
Hey, why don't you and Gabby, Dyer handle this one?
All right. Next story.
Oh, the one about Virginia Beach.
Oh,
Yeah.
That's not a
Right.
good story. Let's watch. Let's read it.
I'll take the Don Lemon part.
All right.
Right at the end.
Okay, fair enough. Virginia Beach shooting and Don Lemon. This Friday, 12 people were killed by a lone gunman who opened fire at a city building in Virginia Beach, Virginia. 4 other victims have been hospitalized, 3 of which were listed as being in critical condition.
This incident is the deadliest mass shooting to have occurred in the U.S. since November, when 12 people were shot and killed at the Borderline Bar and Grill establishment in Thousand Oaks, California. However, unlike the gunman in California, the Virginia Beach shooter's death resulted in an exchange of gunfire with police, rather than by suicide. Here's what we know about the shooting so far.
And of course, we will not be saying the gunman's name because he does not matter. The only people who matter are the victims.
Mm-hmm.
At the scene, the shooting unfolded at the Virginia Beach Municipal Center where many of the city's public administrative employees work.
Authorities did identify, the shooter is a Muslim African-American 40-year-old man who worked as a certified professional engineer for the city of Virginia Beach for about 15 years.
Yep.
Okay.
I mentioned earlier that he passed away due to...
Got it. The weapons that were used, authorities recovered 2 guns at the scene believed to be used in the shooting, a rifle and a .45 caliber handgun with extended magazine and a suppressor.
So far, local authorities have stated it's too early thus far to determine the shooter's motive in the attack. Virginia Beach Chief of Police James Cervera said, "Right now we have a lot of questions. The whys, they will come later. Right now we have more questions than we have answers."
Yep, I'm sure soon we will be getting the whys answered for us, and we will do a update to the story when we do. Mayor Bodie Dyer said, "Today is Virginia Beach's darkest day." Virginia Beach Vice Mayor James Wood said the shooting is without a doubt the most horrific thing that our city has experienced. The Virginia Beach Police Department had planned to hold an active shooter training on Saturday. City Councilman Michael Berlucci confirmed to CNN's Don Lemon. And the shooting took place on what day again?
It was just Friday, like yesterday.
So 1 day prior to their practice.
Yeah. Dyer, say Bobby.
Bobby. What did I say?
Body.
Oh, yeah, that's dumb. Bobby.
And I'd like to throw in there that we got a Le Mans over on DLive from Pyro 2017. Thank you very much.
You know, that's thank you for the Le Mans, and it's actually quite fortuitous that you segue that into a Le Mans, because I'm going to conclude the story about the shooting now.
Okay.
We're going to offer our respects and our condolences to the families and friends of the victims. But back to that Le Mans, we have a bone to pick with Don Lemon. This is the man that claimed that the greatest threat to the safety of Americans is the white male, the straight white male. whenever there's been a mass shooting, he climbs up on the biggest box he can find, puts on his big boy pants, and screams it out to whoever will listen. This time, though, when the shooter's middle-aged and black Muslim, we find ourselves with a silent, contrite Lamont, who seems to be intent on delivering news and facts instead of conjecture and ideology. Why do you guys think the Lamont's so quiet? Do you think that sad look on his face is for the victims of the shooting, or because he doesn't get another chance to shit on the straight white American male?
Yeah, maybe he's just a racist.
He might just be a racist.
Yeah.
And I know a lot of people are going to take this shooting knowing nothing about the motive and politicize it, and because that's what people like Don Lemon do all the time, especially when it's someone that fits his narrative, right? When it's a white guy, he will politicize it from the very moment, not even wait for the bodies to be cold before he's accusing it of being, a white supremacist American culture, right? We're not going to politicize it. We're going to find out the reasons why when we find out the reasons why. Right now, we're reporting the facts of what happened, but it is important to see how these people who regularly politicize these events, how they react when the person that is committing the atrocity doesn't fit their narrative.
Yeah, so System Crawl over on DLive says that I find it weird that no one is talking about it, like anywhere, basically.
Well, yeah, it's because it doesn't fit their narrative of the dangerous white American male. So, don't talk about it. It's like the guys in the chat are saying, the stem shooters, gay dude and a trans person.
Yep.
How long did we hear about that for? 2 days, if that.
It sucks that narrative takes precedent over just news. You know what I mean? Like being generally just informed of what's going on around the country.
And the problem is when we talk about, where we focus on all these narratives with political ends in mind, like they're talking about the event with the end goal of wanting to ban guns. So they don't really care about the individual facts of the case of what led up to the shooting taking place. All they care about is leading to their political ends, right?
Yeah, that's
because we focus on those things, we actually don't address the causes of the events, right?
That is true.
So we are in this constant cycle. They keep talking about the cycle of violence. We are actually caught in a cycle. It's because we never learn from the mistakes. We're always focusing on things that were not the actual cause.
Yeah, because skin color doesn't make people shoot people.
Oh, Timberwolf's informing me that System Crawl was actually talking about the guy who set himself on fire. That nobody was talking about that.
Oh, yes, that story.
Well, yeah, I've already memed it. I can't do a story on it.
I don't know enough about the story to report on it, other than there was a guy that went to the White House lawn, set himself on fire, and was put out by a security guard, or for the White House. So I don't know any more than that.
Not as amusing as the person who dressed up as Batman and tried to scale the wall.
No.
But I can look into the story, and if there's more information available, then I can talk about it next show.
Yeah, well, yeah, we should do that story, because if no one else is talking about it, maybe we should cover it. But I saw the image. I didn't know it was a recent event.
It just happened. Yeah, it just happened. But what's there to talk about?
I don't know. There might be information to talk about later on. Right now, all I've said is the only thing I know, and there might be nothing more of that later. But if there is more later, then we can talk about it. If there's a story there.
When I saw that image, I just thought it's so sad. Like, it was so sad that someone would do that.
I was curious if they were just suicidal, or if it was just like did they charge at people, or just set themselves on fire and stand there?
Walked out calmly, walked out towards the White House, and then got fire extinguished.
Yeah, that guy was a champ.
Ow.
Yeah, he wasn't acting like he was in pain at all.
Maybe it was bath salts.
Well, I heard that you go into shock like really quickly.
Yeah. You do stop feeling pain pretty quickly as your nerves, burn away, and also.
Hey, let's not talk about immolation right now.
Yeah.
That's kind of nasty.
Yeah, it's pretty gross, man.
I was gonna make some. Never mind. Anyway.
No, it's not even worth joking. It's like,
we're gonna transition from white guys being the problem in mass shootings to Eric Swalwell apologizing for being a white guy.
Great segue.
Nice.
Thank you. Democratic candidate Eric Swalwell is yet another Democratic candidate you haven't heard of. He polls at less than 1% nationally and has approximately a 0 chance of being nominated. Approximately, give or take.
Guesstimation.
A tenth or two.
That's rounding up 0, right?
Yeah, well, it is rounding. Yeah. Swalwell, however, thank you for the follow.
I can't pronounce that, but is following us. Thank you. Cheers, buddy.
Pronounce the 5 like an S.
Oh, okay. There you go.
Swalwell is just another great example of how pathetic a white man is when they try to court the identitarian left. The same identitarian left that view white men as being the root of all evil and that advocates for segregation, reparations, and in some cases castration, and who oppose race mixing.
Sorry, wife came in. So, hold on. Everything you just listed is the same things that white nationalists support.
Except for castration. Yep. The only things that separate them is what skin color they think is inferior. So Mr. Swalwell is trying to attract votes from people who think white people like him shouldn't hold any sort of power in the first place.
Seems pretty stupid. Check out this video his campaign produced where he literally apologizes for being white.
That's on you, Clydo.
I can't wait. I mean, Beto O'Rourke already kind of apologized for that.
You mispronounced beta.
Beta.
Apologies. Does that make me racist because I can't say his name?
Clyde, you are so muted.
I am muted. I'm sorry but I really love this headline. Gotti Swalwell apologizing for being a white guy so he could climb to 1% in polling. That just kills me, man. Yeah, I love this guy, Gowdy.
Gowdy's a savage.
We do accept from him as well.
He's so
actually
good.
He's not a beta.
Here we go with the story.
Why should another white guy be president?
Well, a white guy who doesn't see other identities or understand other experiences should not be president. I do. And, where there would be gaps in my knowledge or my experience, I will pass the mic to people, who do have that experience. I've also pledged that I would ask a woman to serve as vice president.
So you're not a leader, is what you're saying.
So okay.
How does he stand up? How does he sit up straight without a spine?
Right.
I think it's that big tampon in his ass.
It's bad that he's basically apologizing for being white. But did you notice he said that people should vote for him so he can turn around and let other people who are unelected decide stuff for him? What is the point of electing you if you plan on just delegating your authority to other people? Why don't we just vote for them?
Right.
That's what I said.
All right, we going on
so
to
Trey Gowdy. Trey Gowdy actually had one of the best responses to Swallow. Check out this clip from his appearance on Fox News.
Let me take a big turn here and get your thoughts on one of the many, many candidates who's running for the Democratic presidential nomination, Eric Swalwell, who is, sort of bemoaning the fact that he is another white guy, as he puts it. He says, I may be another white guy, but I know there are gaps in my knowledge or in my experience, and I know when to pass the mic. What do you think about that?
Well, Eric's clearly riding a wave. I think he's all the way up to 0 in the polling. I noticed throughout his political history, he ran against 2 women that I know of. So if he's concerned that there aren't enough voices in Congress or in the city council he was on, he didn't have any qualms about running against 2 qualified women back then. This is what I know, and luckily what most of our fellow citizens know: logic, objective truth, passion, empathy, no racial or gender strictures. If you are a good person, I want you governing me regardless of any other immutable characteristic. I think it is a sad reflection on our politics that people are actually apologizing for things over which they have absolutely no control at all. And I think most of my fellow citizens reject that and see this as just Eric pandering, trying to climb all the way up to 1% in the polling.
That kills me. That kills me, man. Oh, that guy. That guy's freaking hilarious.
Mic drop.
Even groveling to the people you are pandering to earns you nothing.
What's the point of groveling to people who think you're evil, anyways? That they think you shouldn't have any power at all. What's the point?
What you guys just witnessed actually was the political equivalent of a Johnny Cage nut shot to Eric Swalwell. that was some Trey Gowdy kung fu right there.
Oh my God, that's great.
But it is worth bringing up because it's an important thing that a lot of people don't get. Because there's all this discussion about we need to have representation in government. We need to have black people in government because of equal percentage to black people in the country, because that's the only way that black interest will be dealt with, because they have the racist mindset that your skin color determines your values.
That's the funny thing. I was watching a couple of tweets before where people were like saying, well, this person's, not white. This person's actually black, or this person's actually, Hispanic. What are you talking about? And then what they'll do is, once you've pointed that out to them, they'll say, whiteness is more than skin color. You know what I mean? It's like they're ridiculous. Like okay, take for example, Mr. Herman Cain, or Ben Carson.
Yeah,
they're just as white as any other Republican out there right now, according to the left. You know what I mean? Because they're Uncle Toms. When they call them Uncle Toms and whatnot, they're calling them white.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So I've had the benefit of being led by.
I've had the benefit of money.
That was perfectly interjected.
I've had the benefit of being led by men, women of Hispanic, Black, Korean, Chinese, a bunch of different heritages, and with all different perspectives, but both good and bad in all those categories. And what made them good leaders wasn't their gender, there wasn't their racial background. What made them good leaders was their personal characteristics and their merits, right? Mm-hmm. Their values. That's what made them good leaders. So a white male who is a good leader and cares about the people he's leading can do a lot better than someone who is female or black or trans that is a bad leader.
Yeah, but if you're female, black, or trans and you're a good leader, then it should just be like all else should be ignored. You're just a good leader. Yeah. That's it.
There's an example, actually a great example. There is a trans woman in the military that I know who follows the show, who I've spoken to, and from all I've seen about their background and all I've learned from speaking to them, they sound like a great leader who has been well awarded in the military for doing their job very well.
Yeah. So congrats on your accomplishments, not on what you were born as. You know what I mean? Fuck, that's so stupid.
That person is not a good leader because they're trans.
No, they're a good leader because of inherent traits to their personality and ethic. You know what I mean?
Exactly.
So System Crawl says my uncle named Tom is very offended. We also had Streamlabs donation from Timberwolf for $2. He says it's more like only 4 haven't apologized out of the 1K in the DNC that is running. Yeah, it really does feel like 1,000 people are running in the DNC currently.
You remember back during the 2016 election when they said that the Republicans were fractured because they had like 17 people running?
Yeah, they're hitting 23 or 24 right now.
Oh my God.
And
it's amazing.
Hey, you remember when Spartacus was in the news?
Yep.
I don't.
Spartacus?
It's been that long.
I think they need to break into dance troops and then alleviate the dance troops, and then they'll get like smaller groups of individuals.
Oh, we could do the America's Got Talent strategy where they split them into different groups and then vote out a group at a time.
Yeah, there you go. We'd save ourselves.
No. We need to lock them all in a room, break a broom handle in the middle of it in half, and say,
Go all like Joker. It's like
we're gonna have Bernie Sanders walk out there covered in blood. Be hilarious. He never does any work until he had to.
I don't know. Let me see. Who do I think? I think Kamala Harris would come out.
No, I think. Never mind. I can say that out
loud. Fair enough. Hey, you guys take it for a moment. I'll be right back.
Yeah. Hey, Dyer, were we going to play that one video where that lady's bitching out the representative? I didn't see that in there.
We didn't actually do that story, did we?
No, we can talk about it.
We could totally do that story if you have the clip.
Let me find it for you.
All right.
So who's complaining about what now?
Oh, it's awesome. It's an awesome video.
There's another minor candidate that no one knows who just got totally destroyed by someone at a town hall. It was a sight to be seen.
She
how about
ruined him.
Want to have us cover the story while you find the clip?
Yeah, go ahead. I already got a clip. You guys go ahead.
Okay. Would you mind starting, Gabby?
Not at all. So Vox host is trying to get Steven Crowder banned. We have another example of the left-wing media supporting censorship of conservative voices. As much as journalists pay lip service to the freedom of the press and the freedom of speech, again and again, they show they think it only applies to them. This time we have Vox, a multi-million-dollar media company trying to silence Steven Crowder, an independent commentator.
That's my misspelling. This all started with Carlos Maza, who is the host of Vox's videos with a regressive perspective. Maza's videos are often filled with inaccuracies, blatant lies, and conspiracies, like suggesting that Hillary's email scandal only existed because Fox News reported on it, not because she actually did it. Maza's videos have a lot of critics, including us, but also one of his biggest critics is Steven Crowder from Louder with Crowder. Crowder has produced a series of videos debunking Vox's videos point by point.
Carlos said that he is open to criticism, but apparently he's not. This week, Maza wrote a Twitter chain to his 100,000 followers asking YouTube to ban Steven's channel and asking his audience to join him in mass flagging Steven's videos. Maza claimed that he wanted Steven shut down, not because of his opinions, but because he felt that Steven was harassing him in his videos.
The examples he provided of the harassment were clips of Steven referring to Maza as a Mexican, as an anchor baby, as a lispy sprite, and as a queer. All of these things, other than lispy sprite, were also ways that Maza has described himself in his own videos. And Lispy Sprite is just one part accurate and another part hilarious.
Well, and it's not like it's not tongue-in-cheek that Crowder does with his own people, right? Like, half Asian lawyer.
Quarter black.
Not gay Jared.
Not gay Jared. Quarter black. What's his name?
I forget. Quarter black something.
Yeah. He's new. But yeah. I mean, he's just ribbing people. Like, that's the way he is.
He's egalitarian with his crude humor.
Exactly.
You can say you don't like it, but you can't say it's an attack.
No.
Steven's show is a political comedy show where he mimics and mocks public figures like Maza. You might believe his words are mean or rude, but they are not harassment. He is not going to Maza and saying these things to him. Maza would have to go to Steven's content to hear his commentary. He's posting it on his platform, not to Maza. This isn't...
One second. Clyde, cue up that video. Go ahead, Dyer.
This isn't to say that Maza isn't being harassed. I am positive that when a well-known public figure working for a large media company produces a video saying controversial and frankly idiotic things, that such a person would likely receive direct insults and harassment, for being an idiot. Apparently, Maza has been doxxed and has received death threats, and none of us think this is okay. We condemn doxing and actual harassment. We do, however, accept that it is a natural consequence of a public life and political commentary being combined. Mean people who disagree with you will be mean to you. However, none of these people were instructed to do so by Steven Crowder. Thus, Steven Crowder is not guilty for the actions of other people. It's simple.
I hate the arguments like, oh, well, you have this big platform, you criticize them this way. It's like, how do you think they got that platform with their humor and their wit and their positions? You can't just say, oh, because they're making, or because they're criticizing me, it's an attack against me. Like, no, so what? If you're like a big enough public figure, you can't have an opinion on stuff anymore, or at least a negative opinion.
Okay, but
you can't have a backbone when people criticize you. Like, come on.
But then you have Mazza. His videos are criticizing other public figures, and Mazza criticized Crowder. Is he then inciting violence or harassment to all those other public figures?
Yeah, it would seem that way.
Well, that's not how the legal definition is, but by his definition, he's done more harassment than Steven Crowder has.
Oh,
and he's harassing people smaller than him.
He directly added YouTube the platform. It's like, guys, get this video down. It's harassment.
When you're a public figure, it's a little harder to prove, harassment as well. Because it's you're allowed to respond to public figures making public statements.
Yeah, I thought harassment was pretty clearly defined as like you actually go to them and like, you say this disparaging stuff to their face.
Yeah.
Yeah, but I think harassment can be defined as sicking your giant following on people.
Yes, that's what Mazza did. That's not what Steven did.
No. Mm-hmm. And in fact, Steven Crowder openly says, please do not go and harass these people that we criticize.
Yep.
Odeon in chat says, I don't get death threats. I don't get death threats either, Odeon. Yeah, it sucks.
Me either.
But the closest thing I get to a death threat is Slowpoke talking about plunging my guts, which is really gross.
Dude, yeah.
Bring on the death threats, please.
I've got people wishing me harm that they didn't actually threaten me themselves. They just wished harm upon me.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's not quite the same.
No.
That's just being
because we're not famous enough.
A weirdo on the internet. I wish that you would have this thing happen to you. Whatever. Get out of here.
Yeah. All right, next.
You asked me to cue that video up.
No.
Yeah.
Gabby's next.
Oh, Gabby's next.
Oh, Mazza also criticized the "Socialism is for Figs" t-shirt that Steven sells, saying that it is a slur. This is also not harassment. Here's a sample of Mazza's tweets. These videos make me a target of ridiculous harassment, and it makes life sort of miserable. I waste a lot of time blocking abusive Crowder fanboys, and this shit derails your mental health.
He's almost right there. It's not the Steven's videos that make him the target of ridiculous harassment. It's his own videos putting out stupid lies and conspiracies that make him the target for harassment. Because people are responding to stupid things you say.
It's like you can't control the entire internet. Like, if you're a big enough person with a big enough audience, there's going to be some bad actors. Like, all you can tell them is, like Steven told these people, don't dox, don't, harass. Let's just have a laugh on my channel together and criticize this guy.
Here's an example of how these people falsely claim they're being harassed. Say he makes a video saying the sky is purple, and then it's seen by 1 million people, and maybe 10% of that million, 100,000 people say, no, it's actually blue. So he receives 100,000 comments of, you're wrong, you're an idiot, the sky's actually blue. He feels like he's being harassed because he received 100,000 negative comments.
Well,
but
don't be wrong next time.
Yeah, you said something wrong. They responded to it. It isn't organized. It's just that 100,000 people not only were smarter than you, but were also willing to respond.
Triumvirate says Vince doesn't get death threats. He's already died a few times. People know that people know that death threats don't work on him anymore.
I just want to throw this out there. System Crawl over on DLive gave us an ice cream and 4 lemons. Thanks so much for that, buddy.
Is that lemon ice cream?
It might be.
Or
maybe the 4 lemons we can squeeze onto the ice cream.
We got to see how many lemons we can cash out at DLive. We've gotten a lot of lemons.
Yeah, there's a lot of lemons.
Yeah, we do have a lot of lemons. Lemons.
Yeah.
Right, so yeah, Mazza continues, this is another tweet. This has been going on for years, and I've tried to flag this shit on several occasions, but YouTube is never going to actually enforce its policies. because Crowder has 3 million YouTube subscribers, and enforcing their rules would get them accused of anti-conservative bias.
Wait a second. Doesn't he get? Maybe he doesn't have 3 million subscribers, but didn't he get like $3 million from CNN or the conglomerate that owns CNN to put Vox forward as a fucking thing?
He's well paid for his work.
Yeah. He's well paid for having a shitty opinion. So take the strap, buddy.
I just think it's funny that YouTube like goes out of its way to like heavily like filter what goes into their recommended, like the news clips that do like surface first thing in the Google box, like and they still don't like YouTube. They're mad because conservatives are allowed there.
I find it funny that Vox has been financed by other media companies to the tune of $300 million, and they produce crappy content that can't even compete with Steven Crowder, who is funded through people buying mugs.
Mugs. It's all through mugs.
Yeah, it's all audience-based.
Yeah. Whereas their corporate news, he is, crowdfunded. Much smaller budget, much better content. Better research somehow.
To be fair, though, I think he doesn't divulge this, but he's got to get a kickback from the Blaze because they're associated, right?
Oh, he's got some money. He's obviously getting money from them now, but I meant before the Blaze, he wasn't getting anything.
Which is recent. The Blaze thing is recent.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, the Blaze thing is a new thing.
Well, it was CRTV. It was CRTV, and then he signed with them. He did terrestrial radio, which I'm sure he saw a little bit of revenue from, and then like majority of what he gets is viewer funded.
Yep. Don't argue. It's all mugs. It's all mugs.
Well, that's the viewer funded.
So many mugs.
All mugs all the
time. Built on a mountain of mugs.
Mug mountain.
I'd go to that.
Yeah. Is there a log right there?
Okay.
Mazza made it very clear that he wanted to pressure YouTube to ban Crowder's channel and asked his followers to mass flag Steven's videos. Which, by the way, isn't asking for mass flagging against Twitter TOS.
Yes. Yes, it is. So let me break this down for you. For yous. Mazza made videos about political opinions most of the country disagrees with, and in our opinion, are based on lies. Steven responded to Mazza's public statements, giving a counter-argument. In that argument, Steven calls Mazza insults that Mazza uses to describe himself. Steven does not tell anybody to dox or harass Mazza. People decide to do that on their own because they, too, disagree with Mazza on what he said. However, Steven did not directly direct any harassment. His insults were only on his channel. Mazza then responded to this criticism by directing his much larger audience to harass Steven Crowder by mass flagging his channel. It seems to me that Mazza Mazza is not suffering being harassed by Crowder, but he in fact is harassing Crowder.
What I like about Crowder is he has a YouTube, a few videos, I think, where he actually confronts people who have directly, like, instigated or encouraged violence towards him or others around him. And he goes to where these people are, like he finds these Facebook posts, and he's just like, hey, so why'd you say this?
Yeah.
He doesn't sit there and cry and at Facebook and...
The series is actually called Crowder Confronts.
It's a good series.
It's so good. And he just waltzes out and he's like, so you said this shit about me. Would you like to say it to my face?
He actually asked him to tell him why they said it and to justify it, and most of the time they can't, because a lot of the shit that he calls out is completely unjustifiable.
Exactly. Fucking
like calling him a Nazi.
Dude, congratulations. Like, seriously, I think Crowder and his team do a freaking bang-up job. I honestly believe that.
And if Mazza thinks some videos criticizing him as harassment, he could have done what he did to Cenk Uygur and just dress up as him and gone to a panel.
Yeah.
That was cringy as fuck, dude. There was like fucking 4 people in the room. And they're like, oh my God. I just want to hear Cenk talk.
That was good. Yeah, so Keeping in mind that Maza has also endorsed the harassment and intimidation of conservative politicians by endorsing throwing milkshakes on them. Maza is actually guilty of harassing Steven Crowder, not the other way around. Somehow, however, YouTube now says it's looking into Steven Crowder's video. We hope just this one time YouTube does the right thing.
Yeah.
That is just the final nail in like the irony coffin. It's just like criticism is harassment, like using naughty words is harassment, worthy of being deplatformed, but actually advocating for having someone assaulted in a country where acid attacks have been on the rise for years, so you don't know what's in a cup that's being thrown at you. Right? That's A-okay.
Could be a pea cup. You don't know.
Yep. I'm really tired of the double standard of when the left is criticized, it's harassment. Or in the case of Trump criticizing the FBI, it's obstruction of justice. But when they criticize a conservative, it's just criticism. Or when the leftist politicians criticize the FBI for investigating the Hillary scandal, that's not obstruction of justice.
Well, it's like the whole that's the way every YouTube liberal is, or regressive, I should say, not just liberal. But like look at Riley Dennis. That guy, he or she criticizes people all the time in her videos, and then when people respond to her videos, he cries harassment.
You mean Sinatra?
Well,
when Sinatra,
let's be fair. Recently,
Sinatra is on top of that.
Sinatra's right.
Got it covered,
Riley
man.
Dennis. Yeah, Riley Dennis. I mean, Sinatra's. It's like a bucking Brilo.
I think
What?
Sinatra rides Riley
right
more
now.
than his girlfriend does.
Oh yeah.
Oh no.
Or,
Sinatra, if you hear this, don't be mad.
We love
Bad
you,
joke.
buddy. We love you,
oh
buddy.
man.
I wasn't criticizing him. You got my full support, bro.
Oh, I gave him a super check as he was doing a live stream the one day, and I was like, "Sweet, you're not doing Riley Dennis today." And he even had a laugh about that.
I mean, come on. It's such a. Riley has become Sinatra's lolcow, personal lolcow.
Yeah.
I can't speak right now. What the hell's wrong with me, Dyer? Whatever you have is contagious.
Hey, man, I'm really, really exhausted. I have an excuse. What's your excuse?
Are we done with the story, or?
Yeah, I think so.
I
Yeah, that
thought
was the
you
end
asked
of
me
it.
to queue up that video, and I worked really
I
hard.
know,
for
I
it.
want to see the video.
Yeah. So guys, this is basically a town hall event for Representative Justin Amash, Republican, in Michigan. This what are you doing? Crowder video? I didn't.
Well, I thought that's what you wanted me to queue up.
No.
That's what I
put
got.
That's not what I put.
That's not it.
It's in chat.
Ah, you put it in. Oh, okay, I'll get it. Introduce it.
Yeah. So basically, she's calling out Justin Amash. Was the one Republican who suddenly, out of nowhere, calls to impeach Trump.
Hi.
And
I'm going to admit.
This lady, who's a former supporter of Amash, called him out on it in a town hall in front of a bunch of people. Everybody's applauding this guy, telling him how stunning and brave he is, because a lot of Democrats came there to support him. But she calls him out. Check it out.
There we go.
Hi. I'm going to admit that I assumed that this was going to be more Republicans than Democrats when I came here. So I'm a little more nervous than I would have been otherwise. But I would like to say that I think a lot of the people here that are cheering you and applauding your courage, most likely a lot of them didn't vote for you. I, on the other hand, have voted for you in every election since 2010. And in fact, I worked on your first campaign in 2010. I knocked on hundreds of doors for you. I made hundreds of cold calls for you, inviting people to your events to meet you. I made tons of personal phone calls to friends to vote you in when you were running against a bunch of other people, right? That was like your hardest election versus being an incumbent, in the last time you ran. So I was there for you from the very beginning. I'm not sure how many people applauding his courage were, but I would like to say since that time, I've changed my position on you.
Ooh.
And you have spent the last 2 years failing to do your job, which is to directly represent the popular will of your constituents. That is your job.
That's not my job. No,
I double checked online before I wrote that in my notes. So it is your job. It's on house.gov. You can read it yourself.
My job is to uphold the Constitution.
No, that's not what house.gov
That is
says.
my job.
That's not what. Those are not mutually exclusive. Do you realize that those are not mutually exclusive?
They can be.
Okay.
That's why our system is designed
Not
the way it
not
is.
in the way that you
son of a
behave.
bitch.
Oh man.
At first, okay, so you called for the nearly unprecedented step of impeachment. And at first you gave no reason. I read every single one of your tweets. And then when you were pressed, you finally gave a reason, and you came up with things like discussions of firings that never happened, rumors of recusal reversals that never happened, nobody reversed their recusal, and then made baseless claims about obstruction of justice, which I know you discussed it before, but you have to have corrupt intent. So you have to prove that Trump knew that he was guilty of a crime and knowingly tried to obstruct justice based on that, okay? You don't have that. You don't have proof of corrupt intent. You don't.
That's not what the
And you
Mueller report
also
says.
further know that impeachment would tear this country apart if it went through and he was removed from office. It would cause a political upheaval in this country people in this generation have never seen before, possible civil war. You rest safe in the knowledge that that will not happen, that he won't be removed from office. So you get to make the political grandstanding that raises your national profile. You are now a national household name. That's called political capital. And you are hoping to launch your star bigger and brighter than District 3. You just talked about how you did better in District 3 than Trump. Do you want to talk about how the last election you got the least amount of support that you ever have because you haven't supported the MAGA agenda? Now, that's your right to do so, but it's your right to support whatever you want, but you also know that you have no future in this district because of that as a Republican. So you want to go bigger and brighter. And I have my final thing, my question is, why did you talk nothing about the FISA abuses? If you care about the Constitution so much, why didn't you say anything about the year-long violation of the Fourth Amendment rights of Trump and his entire transition team? Every phone call, every email, every personal conversation for a year was spied upon and recorded. And they had no knowledge. And you are laughing. You are laughing about a year-long spying on an entire team of people. Fourth Amendment's violated. And you didn't speak about it once. You didn't speak about the FISA abuses, which is currently under investigation. And you called AG Barr a liar without any proof. There was plenty of supporters on the other side. We finally got a voice on our side.
First of all, about Attorney General Barr misrepresenting things deliberately, I put out a set of tweets today which make it very clear. It's not really refutable. Go ahead and find some way to refute the tweets. Mueller himself issued a letter to Barr saying you are misleading people. So it's not even refutable.
All right.
I think most.
It's not what.
Okay, it is refutable because he may have said you are misleading it, but then it came out, and we can all read and see that it's what he said is reflected in the document.
All right.
So yeah, maybe Mueller had said he thought it wasn't being properly, explained by Barr, but Barr's words were vindicated by the actual report.
Right.
I tell you what, she was like a freaking pit bull on his ass.
I love that.
Yeah,
she was riding
his ass.
She was riding him like Sinatra rides Riley Dennis.
I mean,
all
I'm saying is I think he might have his own Me Too moment right now. It did not look consensual at all.
That was awesome, man. I want to see more people call politicians out on their bullshit like that.
Right in public.
Fuck, was that good?
The satirical rabbit gave us a little super berry for $4.99. Alabama's doing everything good. It's stopping the Thanosine of the population. Isn't abortion considered a holocaust against humanity? It certainly is against the black part of humanity.
Yeah.
It's bad in general for everybody.
I mean,
everybody.
More blacks are being killed by abortion than they are being born.
Well, I don't care what skin color the kids would have been. It's just like stop.
Well,
killing
no,
them.
I don't care what skin color they are, but you have to. But I'm pointing out, and you have to point out that there is a particular skin color being targeted. Even
Well, I mean, it's a racist group that was based on racist purpose at the very beginning. But I just want to point out that, let's say 30 years from now, I'm making a prediction here. 30 years from now, talking to you, Dyer, in the future, people are going to look back at this time and say how immoral we were that we were willing to kill so many babies and that it seemed okay. I think that we are at the very tip of change in a perspective towards abortion. I really do.
Yeah, but don't
eventually
we look the same way upon like the Spartans and their practice of throwing babies off a cliff if they had any abnormalities? You know what I mean?
Yeah. Like, we look back in history and say, oh, slavery was evil. But prior to that, slavery used to be normal and moral, considered by the society to be moral. It's wrong. We know it now because our understanding of individual human rights has evolved since then, right?
Yeah.
And I think our society is going to continue to evolve culturally in a positive direction, and I believe eventually we're going to look back at our barbaric practice of killing children in the womb and say, "Wow, that was equally, if not worse, morally than slavery."
Mm-hmm.
30 years from now.
30.
I hope 3 years from now.
30 years from now, I'm going to be one of your cyborg overlords.
Can you guys hear the barking in the background?
Yeah,
Yes.
sorry about that.
I'm gonna.
That's okay. I had a drunk guy yelling outside my window.
You Charlie!
I have
Charlie Murphy!
motorcycles.
Charlie!
Okay.
What are you doing, Charlie?
Charlie?
So, actually, the Alabama thing, one thing that I didn't bring up, one of the stories that I didn't write was Disney boycotting Alabama, saying that they wouldn't feel comfortable filming there. But they certainly feel comfortable filming in Croatia,
right?
Where it's illegal. Where it's legal to illegal to perform an abortion after 10 weeks. They feel comfortable filming in Bolivia, where it's illegal. Abortion's illegal. Period.
How do they feel about filming in Northern Ireland?
They like that too.
Oh.
Where it's illegal.
Where it's generally considered okay to car bomb people.
I'm back.
Yeah, they just want to car bomb their wombs.
Oh my god.
Oh.
Yeah.
Okay, I'm fairly positive. I don't want to test this, but I think if you try to set off a car bomb just within the womb, it will probably expand past the womb. I don't want to try it. Just thingy. Don't try it.
It'll affect everybody in the womb. Hey, Dyer?
Just a matchbox car, not a big one. Oh,
we still talking like the Barbara Walters?
Barbara Walters. It's a significant.
All right, so no more stories, right?
Substantive.
Is that the case? No more stories?
Yeah, we are all done.
Oh boy.
All right.
I have all these extra links, and I didn't realize that we got to the end so quickly.
I need to go get everyone's name so we can raffle off these books.
Dude, raffle off the books.
You're a book.
Face is a book.
Words hurt, man.
Words are violence, man.
Words are violence.
Am I harassing you?
Were there any super chats while I was gone, getting my dog off into my office?
There were not.
Good. So
there was one. Sorry, there was one donation on Streamlabs, and that was from Gollum. He says, for $2, he says Democratic dance-off on counters judged by Simon.
Thank you, Gollum.
Thanks, Gollum.
I have a feeling. Thank you very much, Gollum. I have a feeling that this is going to be like a raffle between Timberwolf and Dacrest, but all of the names are still in there. I added Gollum in.
Hey, we've had winners with
off
only
2
one
books.
entry after.
Can you show that book again?
I can. I'm showing it now.
Cool. This is the book that we are raffling off. Good luck, everybody. Can I get a drum roll, please?
Ooh.
Drum roll.
first winner is Timberwolf. I am shocked.
Didn't he give the book?
Yes, so I'm gonna not give it to him.
Next
You
one.
win your own book, Timberwolf.
She won again. Okay,
Just keep going.
Dachrist. Dachrist wins.
And there's 2 of them, so let's give it another one.
We do have another YouTube
Timberwolf
super
wins
chat.
again.
Try it again. Try it again.
And again.
Guys, if you guys want to have another name in the hat, the Satirical Rabbit posted $2.99. Superberry.
Where's the hentai, lads? Make it hentai now.
Okay, Jordan of Shadow Lightning has won the second book. So we got Dachrist and Jordan are the winners.
Sweet.
Now, the book is on its way here. It should arrive soon, and as soon as I get it, and as soon as you guys confirm you want the prize by emailing me, I will have it sent out to you guys.
And that's at Contact Direwolf.
Yes.
At what?
At gmail.com.
There we go.
Gmail. Gmail.com.
So, please, if you want the prize, Jordan and Dachrist, please email me.
Yes. Gmail
Don
me later.
Don Lamont at gmail.com.
You have to make that now.
I'm gonna try right now.
If it doesn't exist already.
That's where we send all comments, complaints, and concerns to Don Lamont.
All right. I think this was a good show.
Are we doing a game stream after this?
Yeah, let's do a game stream.
You down, Vincent?
Nah.
All right. So
Gabby?
shortly after the stream goes down, we'll be doing a probably Quiplash. So join us in 15, 20 minutes?
Yeah, 15, 20 minutes. We'll be back up.
All right.
Bye, folks.
All right. Thank you all for coming. Direwolf out.
Boobies!